Ambassador Jinwoo Park sat in his chair, trying not to show his anger. The big crystal room of the Galactic Council was full of alien voices. They were talking about humans again. They always talked about humans like they were children. Thexmore, the Velkin delegate, waved his long tentacles in the air. His wet skin made squishy sounds as he moved. "The humans want fusion reactors," he said with a laugh that sounded like bubbles popping. "But they are too young, too dangerous. Maybe in 1,000 years we can think about it." Jinwoo looked at Soman Lee. She sat next to him with her datapad. For 3 years, she had been writing down everything the aliens said about humans. Every insult. Every time they said no. Every time they treated humans like babies who could not be trusted. The room was huge and made of blue crystal that came from some alien world. Light came through it in strange colors. There were seats for 100 different alien species. Most of them looked down on the human section like humans were dirt. "We have been using fusion power for 50 years, Jinwoo said, standing up. "We power our cities with it. We power our spaceships with it. Why do you think we cannot handle your reactors?" The Althraxian representative made a sound like metal scraping metal. That was how they laughed. "Your species fights wars. You destroy your own planet. You are not ready for real power." Jinwoo felt his hands make fists. Humans had stopped fighting big wars decades ago. Earth was cleaner now than it had been in 200 years. But the aliens never wanted to hear about that. "Let me tell you what we know about humans," said another alien. This one looked like a tall stick with too many eyes. "You make weapons from everything. You turn medicine into poison. You turn tools into bombs. This is why we must watch you." Soman Lee touched her datapad. The screen showed numbers that made Jinwoo even more angry. Humans had asked for technology help 47 times in 3 years. The Council had said yes 0 times. Other species asked for help and got it right away. The worst part was not getting what they asked for. The worst part was how the aliens talked to them. Like humans were pets that might bite if they got too excited. "We want to share medical nanobots," said Jinwoo. He tried to keep his voice calm. "These tiny machines can fix damaged organs. They can cure cancer. They can save millions of human lives." The room got quiet. Then the Althraxian spoke again. "Medical nanobots are very dangerous. In the wrong hands, they become weapons. Humans do not have the wisdom to use such power safely." That was it. That was the moment Jinwoo had enough. He had been patient for 3 years. He had smiled when aliens insulted his species. He had said thank you when they gave humans table scraps instead of real technology. He had pretended to be grateful when they let humans clean their toilets and fix their broken machines. But watching children die from diseases that could be cured easily was too much. Jinwoo stood up slowly. The crystal chair made a soft sound as it moved back. Every eye in the room looked at him. Some aliens had 2 eyes. Some had 20. All of them stared. "We are done here," Jinwoo said. His voice was not loud, but it carried across the huge room. The aliens looked confused. Thexmore's tentacles stopped moving. "What do you mean, done?" "I mean humans are finished with these talks. We quit. We are leaving." Jinwoo looked around the room at all the alien faces. "We do not need your permission anymore." An alien that looked like a floating jellyfish made angry buzzing sounds. "You cannot simply leave the negotiations. That is not how this works." "Watch us," said Soman Lee. She stood up next to Jinwoo and pressed something on her datapad. Her voice went to every human ship in the star system. "Admiral Hyunsoo Kim, this is Soman Lee. Start protocol exodus right now. All human ships, all human people, we are going home." The room exploded with alien voices. They were all talking at the same time. Some sounded angry. Some sounded scared. The floating jellyfish alien turned bright red, which meant it was very upset. "You cannot do this," shouted the Althraxian. "We are in the middle of important talks." Jinwoo picked up his papers from the table. "No, we are not. These are not talks. You talk, we listen, you say no. That is not talking. That is you telling us what to do." "But the trade agreements," said another alien. "The research projects, the defense treaties. You can have them all," said Jinwoo. "Do your own research. Defend yourselves. Trade with each other." Soman Lee was already walking toward the door. Other humans in the room got up and followed her. There were not many humans in the council building, maybe 50 people total, but they all left their seats at the same time. The alien guards at the doors looked confused. No species had ever walked out of council talks before. They did not know what to do. Chairman Mordex finally spoke. He was old and gray and had been running the council for 20 years. "Ambassador Park, please be reasonable. If you have complaints, we can discuss them." Jinwoo stopped walking and turned around. "We tried to discuss things for 3 years. You do not want to discuss. You want to control." "We are trying to protect the galaxy," said Mordex. "Young species need guidance." "Young?" Jinwoo laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. "Humans have been flying in space for 100 years. We have colonies on 50 worlds. We built the fusion reactors that power this station. But you call us young," he pointed at the Velkan delegate. "Your people learned to make fire last week compared to humans. But you get fusion technology because you kissed the right alien feet." The room got very quiet. Speaking that directly to council members was not allowed. Jinwoo did not care anymore. "Here is what will happen. Every human in council space is leaving. Every human ship, every human worker, every human scientist. We will fix our own problems and leave you to fix yours." He walked to the door, then turned back one more time. "And when your lights go out because you do not know how to run the power plants we built, remember this day. Remember that you chose to treat us like children instead of partners." The doors closed behind the humans with a soft sound. Behind them, 100 alien species started shouting at each other, trying to figure out what had just happened. In the hallway, Somin Lee was already talking to Admiral Kim on her communicator. "Sir, we need ships to pick up 50,000 humans from 12 star systems. Can you do it?" "Already moving," came the Admiral's voice. "Every human ship in the fleet is coming to collect our people. We will be ready to leave in 48 hours. Jinwoo smiled for the first time in 3 years. It felt good to stop pretending to be grateful for insults. Admiral Hyun-Soo Kim stood on the bridge of the HSS Indomitable, watching his screens fill with information. Ships were moving everywhere. The biggest operation in human history was starting, and he had to make sure it worked perfectly. "Sir, we have confirmation from all fleet commanders," said his aide, Lieutenant Taeho Shin. "Every human ship in council space is moving to collection points." Hyun-Soo nodded. "How many people do we need to pick up?" 53,412 humans across 12 star systems, sir, plus all their equipment and personal belongings. It was a lot of people. Humans had been living and working in alien space for years. They had built lives there. But now they all had to come home. On Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Council, Captain Minji Cho walked through the human district. It was a big area with shops, homes, schools, and offices. 50,000 humans lived and worked there. Now they were all packing. "Ma'am, the kindergarten is ready to move," reported Sergeant Kyung-Soo Bayek. "All the human children and their families are packed." Minji watched as hover trucks carried boxes and furniture toward the spaceport. Humans were moving fast, but they were not panicking. They had practiced evacuation drills many times. Nobody expected to use them like this, but the training was working. An alien shopkeeper, a Zalani with blue fur, came running up to Minji. "Captain, what is happening? Where are all the humans going?" "We are leaving," Minji said simply. "But why? The human shops are the best shops on Nexus Prime. Human doctors are the best doctors. Human mechanics fix things better than anyone." Minji looked at the alien. His big eyes were full of worry. "Then maybe your council should have thought about that before they treated us like dirt." Dr. Do-Hyun Yoon was packing up the Human Medical Center. It was the biggest hospital on Nexus Prime, and it treated every kind of alien. Human doctors were good at fixing problems that other species could not solve. "Doctor, please," said Vorthak, the Trilaxian head of hospital administration. "You cannot close the trauma center. We have patients from 7 different species here." Do-Hyun looked up from the box of medical equipment he was packing. "Then I suggest you find doctors from those 7 species to help them. But the neural surgery unit, the genetic therapy lab, the artificial organ workshop, only humans know how to run them. Not my problem anymore." Do-Hyun sealed the box and marked it for shipment to Earth. "We offered to teach other species how to use this equipment for 3 years. The council said we were too dangerous to share medical knowledge." A small alien with tentacles for arms started crying. That was how her species showed fear. "But my daughter is scheduled for heart surgery next week. Only human doctors can do the operation she needs." Do-Hyun stopped packing for a moment. Leaving sick people behind was hard, but staying was harder. "Transfer her to the Althraxian medical facility. They do not know how to operate on my species. Then I guess the council will have to figure it out." In the research district, Chief Engineer Bora Jang was shutting down the joint technology projects. Humans had been working with alien scientists on dozens of important experiments. New engines for spaceships, better computers, weapons that could stop asteroid impacts. Engineer Jang, you cannot take the quantum computers, said Vekinth, a Tralaxian scientist. We are only weeks away from finishing the new hyperdrive design. Bora looked at the huge machines that filled the lab. Humans had built them, programmed them, and maintained them for 2 years. Then you should have let humans be equal. Partners instead of junior assistants. But we need those computers to finish the calculations. Use your own computers. Our computers are not powerful enough for this kind of work. Bora shrugged and kept disconnecting cables. Sounds like a you problem. The quantum computers shut down one by one. Years of research data sat locked in their memory banks. Without the shutdown codes, which only humans knew, the data would be impossible to access. All over Nexus Prime, the same scene played out dozens of times. Human workers packed up and left. Alien supervisors begged them to stay, but the humans just smiled and walked away. At the power plant, Chief Technician Dong-Hyun Ko shut down the fusion reactors one by one. The aliens who worked there watched nervously as the power output dropped. You cannot turn off the reactors, said the plant supervisor, a tall alien with metal skin. The whole city needs power. The reactors will keep running, said Dong-Hyun. But they will not run as well without human technicians. We were getting 30% more power out of them than your people can. How? What were you doing differently? Dong-Hyun smiled. Trade secret. Within 6 hours, the power output on Nexus Prime dropped by 25%. The lights got dimmer. The air conditioning worked less well. Computer systems ran slower. Council Chairman Mordex called an emergency meeting in his office. The lights flickered as he tried to contact Ambassador Jinwoo. The call went through to an automated message. Humanity is no longer available for consultation. Please direct all questions to your own species experts. Have a nice day. Mordex tried calling again. Same message, sir, said his aide, a nervous-looking alien with too many arms. We have reports coming in from all over the system. Humans are leaving everywhere. What do you mean, everywhere? The communication relay station on Nexus 4. All the human technicians left. Messages between star systems are taking twice as long now. The asteroid mining platform on Nexus 7. The human engineers took all their equipment. Production has stopped completely. Mordex felt cold. What about the trade hub? Human cargo pilots are refusing new contracts. Human logistics coordinators have shut down their routing systems. Half the cargo ships in the system do not know where to go. On his desk, reports kept coming in. The fusion research lab on Nexus 2 had gone dark when human scientists packed up their equipment. The terraforming project on Nexus 6 was stopping because human atmospheric experts were leaving. Sir, said another aide, the Zelani ambassador wants to speak with you. He says the human trade district on his homeworld is closing down. 20,000 human workers are leaving. Their economy is going to collapse. Mordex tried to call Jinwoo again. Same automated message. He called the human embassy. Nobody answered. He sent a priority message to Earth's government. The reply came back immediately. All diplomatic communications must go through Ambassador Jinwoo Park. He is currently busy. In space above Nexus Prime, human ships appeared one by one. Big cargo ships to carry equipment. Passenger ships to carry people. Military ships to make sure nothing went wrong. Admiral Kim watched from the Indomitable as the evacuation proceeded. How long until everyone is loaded? 36 hours, sir, reported his navigation officer. The civilian evacuation is ahead of schedule. Good. The sooner we get our people out of here, the better. On the planet below, aliens were starting to panic. They had never seen anything like this. Nobody had ever told the Galactic Council no before. Nobody had ever just left. The human district was almost empty now. Shops were closed. Schools were shut down. The hospital had transferred its last patients to alien facilities that did not know how to treat them properly. Captain Minji Cho stood in the main square of the human district, checking her list one more time. All families accounted for. All equipment loaded. All facilities shut down properly. She looked around at the empty buildings. Humans had lived here for 15 years. They had made friends with aliens. They had built businesses. They had created a little piece of Earth in alien space. But respect was worth more than comfort. Time to go home, she said, and walked toward her ship. Behind her, the lights in the human district went out one by one. 2 weeks after the humans left, the problem started getting worse. Station Commander Yunha Seo finished loading the last of her people onto the transport ship. Her communications station had been the most important relay point in this part of the galaxy. Messages from 50 different star systems went through her equipment. Now that equipment was packed in boxes, heading back to human space. "Commander," said her communication officer, Young-Sik Han, "we are getting emergency calls from 12 different planets. They cannot reach their home governments." "Not our problem anymore," Yuna said, but she felt bad about it. The communication network had taken 10 years to build. Without it, some planets would be cut off from the rest of the galaxy. "Ma'am, the Vorthak colony ship is asking for navigation help. They are lost without our relay signals." Yunha looked at the screen showing the alien ship floating in space. 3,000 Vorthak families were on that ship, looking for a new home. Without human communication equipment, they could not find their way. "Send them the coordinates for the nearest alien communication station," she said. "It is 2 weeks away, but they should be able to get help there." 2 weeks? "Ma'am, they only have supplies for 5 days. Yunha closed her eyes. This was hard. But humans had been asking for help for 3 years and getting nothing. Why should they care about aliens now? "Send the coordinates," she said. "We are leaving." The transport ship pulled away from the communication station. Behind them, the huge antenna arrays went dark. Without human technicians to maintain them, the equipment would break down in a few months. On the farming world of Kepler 442b, agricultural specialist Jae-hyun Lim was packing up his research lab. He had spent 5 years developing new crops that could grow in alien soil. The food production on this planet had increased by 400% because of his work. "Please do not go," said Zeroth, the local Zephyrian colony leader. "Without your hybrid crops, we will starve." Jae-hyun looked at the fields around the lab. Golden wheat that could grow in Zephyrian soil. Corn that could survive the planet's long winters. Vegetables that tasted good to both humans and aliens. "The crops are already planted," he said. "You have seeds for next year. The growing instructions are in your computer systems. But we do not understand the genetic modification process. What if the crops get diseased? What if they stop growing properly? Then you will have to figure it out yourselves." Zeroth's feathers turned gray, which meant he was scared. "Our people will die without enough food. Your people should have thought of that before they supported the Council's decision to deny humans agricultural technology sharing agreements. But I voted against those restrictions. Your species voted for them." Jae-hyun finished packing his equipment into shipping containers. The genetic modification lab that had created miracle crops was going back to Earth. The Zephyrians would have to grow food the old way. Without human help, their food production would drop back to what it was before. That meant hunger, maybe starvation. But Jae-hyun had tried to teach them his techniques for 5 years. The Council said it was too dangerous for humans to share advanced biological manipulation knowledge with other species. Dr. Nari Kwan was shutting down her research lab at the Galactic Research Institute. She studied alien diseases, trying to find cures that would work on different species. Her latest project was a cure for the plague of Vorth, a sickness that was killing people on 17 different worlds. "Dr. Kwan, you cannot leave now," said Dr. Mixalis, her alien research partner. "We are so close to finishing the cure." Nari looked at the computer screen showing their research data. They really were close. Maybe 2 more months of work and they would have a medicine that could save millions of lives. "We were close for 6 months, she said. "But every time I tried to speed up the process using human medical techniques, the ethics committee said it was too risky. But people are dying every day." Then maybe the ethics committee should have been more worried about dying people than about humans sharing medical knowledge. She downloaded all her research files onto encrypted drives. The data was going back to Earth with her. Without it, the alien researchers would have to start over from the beginning. That would take years. The plague would kill millions more people by then. But the Galactic Council had made their choice. They wanted to control human knowledge instead of learning from it. The first Council emergency session happened when the power grid on Nexus Prime failed completely for 6 hours. The fusion reactors that humans had been maintaining were running badly. Without human engineers who understood the delicate adjustments needed, the reactors kept shutting down. Chairman Mordex sat in his dark office, trying to work by emergency lighting. The air was getting warm because the cooling systems were not working properly. "Sir, we have reports from all over Council space," said his aide. "The communication delays are getting worse. Some planets have not received messages in days. What about the emergency repairs?" "Our engineers are trying, sir. But they do not understand how the humans kept the systems running so well. Everything is working, but not working well." On Mordex's desk, more reports kept arriving. The asteroid belt mining consortium had stopped all operations because human engineers took their equipment. Food shortages were starting on 12 different worlds because human agricultural specialists had left. The medical crisis was getting worse as alien doctors tried to use human-designed equipment they did not fully understand. "Sir, the Korthak ambassador is here to see you. He says 3 of his people died because the trauma center could not save them without human doctors." Trade Commissioner Seojin Park had been the last human to leave the commercial district. His job was to make sure cargo got from one place to another efficiently. Human logistics systems moved 30% of all goods in Council space. Now those systems were gone. Cargo ships sat in space, waiting for instructions that never came. Planets that needed food could not get it, because nobody knew which ships were carrying what. Factory worlds that needed raw materials had to shut down production. The galactic economy was not collapsing yet, but it was getting sick fast. Seojin watched from his transport ship as alien cargo pilots tried to figure out how to route shipments without human computer systems. They were using old paper charts and taking 3 times longer to plan routes. "Sir," said his logistics officer, Jihunan, 17 different planets have sent emergency requests for food deliveries. They cannot coordinate with supply ships. "Forward the request to the Council's Emergency Management Office," said Seojin. "Let them handle it." "Sir, they do not have the computer systems to handle that many requests at once. Not our problem." The second Council emergency session was chaos. Representatives from 50 different species were all shouting at the same time. Half of them were blaming the other half for driving humans away. The other half were demanding that the Council force humans to come back. "This is impossible," shouted the Althraxian representative. "One species cannot just leave and expect the galaxy to survive without them." "Then maybe we should not have treated them like children," replied the Trilaxian ambassador. "They were dangerous. They needed supervision." "Dangerous? They were keeping our civilization running." Chairman Mordex tried to restore order, but his voice amplification system was not working properly. Without human technicians, even simple things were breaking down. "We need to contact Earth's government directly," he said. "Offer them a formal apology and better trade terms." The Vulcan delegate waved his tentacles angrily. "We should not apologize to them. They are the ones who abandoned their responsibilities." "What responsibilities?" asked the Zalani representative. "We never gave them any real authority. We just used their skills and gave them nothing in return." The meeting went on for 8 hours and accomplished nothing. While they argued, more systems failed across the galaxy. That night, Chairman Mordex sent a personal message to Ambassador Jinwoo Park. It was a formal apology and a request for renewed dialogue on mutually beneficial terms. The response came back within an hour. "Humanity is currently busy solving problems that matter to us. Perhaps you could try solving your own problems for a change. We managed to take care of ourselves for thousands of years before we met you. Good luck." Mordex stared at the message for a long time. Outside his window, the lights of Nexus Prime flickered as another power plant section failed. For the first time in 20 years as Council Chairman, he was genuinely scared. 1 month after humans left, the galaxy was falling apart. Professor Chang Min-o sat in his office on Earth reading messages from his former alien colleagues. There were dozens of them, all saying the same thing. "Please come back. The quantum research facility on Titan Station has completely shut down," read the message from Dr. Veklos, his Trilaxian research partner. "None of our technicians can operate the equipment you designed. 20 years of research is trapped in computers we cannot access." Changmin deleted the message without replying. He had tried for 5 years to get permission to share quantum computing knowledge with alien scientists. The Council's Science Committee always said the same thing. Too dangerous for humans to teach advanced physics to other species. Now they wanted him to come back and fix their problems for free. His computer showed 47 more messages from alien scientists, all begging for help. all offering nothing in return except the chance to be treated like servants again. He deleted them all and went back to his real work, building better quantum computers for humans. Medical Director Hanul Kim was getting different kinds of messages. Desperate ones. Please, Dr. Kim. The message from the Vorthak Medical Council said, "The plague is spreading faster than ever. Without human medical techniques, we cannot develop treatments quickly enough. Children are dying every day." Hanul looked at the medical reports from across the galaxy. The plague of Vorth was getting worse. 3 other diseases were spreading, because alien medical systems could not contain them without human help. But she remembered trying to share medical knowledge with alien doctors for years. The Council's Medical Ethics Board always rejected her proposals. Human biological experimentation methods are too aggressive for other species to use safely, they said. She deleted the message and continued working on new treatments for human diseases. If aliens wanted medical help, they should have listened when she offered to teach them. Fleet Admiral Young-Ho Lee was reading intelligence reports that made him worry. Not about humans, humans were fine. He worried about what would happen when alien civilizations started collapsing completely. "Sir, the Zilani star system is experiencing solar flare activity," reported Intelligence Officer Soyeon Choi. "Their prediction systems are not working properly. They have no advance warning of dangerous radiation bursts." Young-Ho looked at the star charts on his screen. Human astrophysicists had been quietly monitoring stellar activity across the galaxy for decades. They had prevented dozens of disasters by warning alien planets about dangerous space weather. Now those monitoring systems were gone. The aliens were flying blind through space, not knowing when their own suns might kill them. "Any human colonies in that area?" he asked. "No, sir. The nearest human settlement is 50 light-years away." "Then it is not our problem," but Young-Ho felt bad about it. When the Zilani sun sent out its next big solar flare, millions of people might die because they did not have enough warning to protect themselves. The third council emergency session was not a meeting anymore. It was a panic. Representatives were screaming at each other in dozens of different languages. Some were demanding military action to force humans to return. Others were trying to figure out how to survive without human help. "The entire Korthak trade network has collapsed," shouted the Korthak ambassador, his metal skin turning bright red with anger. "Our cargo ships are lost in space because human navigation systems are gone. 17 planets have requested emergency food aid," said the Meridian representative. "But we cannot coordinate delivery without human logistics networks. The communication delays are getting worse every day," added the Tralaxian ambassador. "Some outer colonies have been cut off completely. Chairman Mordex tried to maintain order, but his authority was crumbling along with everything else. We need to focus on solutions, not blame." "The solution is simple," said the Althraxian representative. "Send military ships to human space. Force them to return and fulfill their obligations." The room got quiet. Even in their panic, most aliens understood that was a terrible idea. "You want to start a war with the species that built most of our military technology?" asked the Zilani ambassador. "The species that designed our weapons and taught us how to use them?" The Velkan delegate waved his tentacles nervously. "But they cannot have advanced military technology. We never gave them access to our most powerful weapons." "They did not need access," said a small alien voice from the back of the room. It was the representative of the Epsilon Eridani system, a peaceful species that rarely spoke in council meetings. "They built their own weapons. Better ones." Everyone turned to look at the small alien. "What do you mean?" asked Mordex. "Human ships that left our space were not the same as human ships that came to our space 3 years ago. New designs, new engines, new defensive systems. They were building military technology the whole time, but they never told us about it." The room erupted in angry voices again. The realization hit everyone at the same time. Humans had been holding back. They had better technology than they ever shared. They had been pretending to be junior partners while actually being more advanced than anyone else. Economic advisor Ji-won Choi was preparing daily reports for Earth's government about the crisis in council space. The numbers were getting worse every day. "Interstellar trade is down 63%, she told President Sung-min Rho during their morning briefing. "Several planets are running out of essential supplies." "What about the alien governments? Are they trying to fix the problems themselves?" "They are trying, but they do not have the knowledge or equipment. Most of their infrastructure depended on human expertise. President Rowe looked at the reports on his desk. Part of him felt bad for the suffering aliens. But a bigger part of him was angry about 3 years of insults and discrimination. Any word from the council about changing their policies toward humans? They sent another formal apology yesterday. They are offering better trade terms and equal representation in council decisions. Too late for that, said the president. We do not need their permission to trade or to make decisions anymore. Meanwhile, the crisis was spreading beyond just technology and logistics. Social problems were starting. On mixed species worlds where humans and aliens had lived together, riots were breaking out. Alien citizens were angry that human neighbors had left without warning. They blamed humans for abandoning them, but they also blamed their own governments for driving humans away. The planet Harmony 7, which had been peaceful for 50 years, declared martial law after 3 days of fighting between different alien species. Everyone was blaming everyone else for the collapse of human-maintained services. Chairman Mordex finally swallowed his pride completely and sent a personal message to Earth's president. President Rowe, the message said, I formally apologize for the Galactic Council's treatment of humanity. We made serious mistakes. We underestimated human capabilities and contributions. Please allow us to start fresh negotiations with equal representation and equal respect. The reply came back within hours. Chairman Mordex, thank you for your message. However, humanity is no longer interested in being part of the Galactic Council. We are building our own future now. We suggest you focus on building yours. That night, Mordex sat alone in his office as the lights flickered again. Through his window, he could see ships leaving Nexus Prime. Not human ships. Those were long gone. These were alien ships leaving because the capital world of the galaxy was becoming unlivable. The power systems were failing more often. The communication networks were getting slower. The transportation systems were breaking down. The medical facilities could not treat complex cases anymore. Nexus Prime, the jewel of galactic civilization, was turning into a failing backwater planet, and it was all because they had treated their most valuable partners like children who could not be trusted with the truth. Mordex tried one more time to contact Ambassador Jinwoo Park. This time, he did not get the automated message. He got something worse. No response at all. Humanity was not just ignoring the council anymore. They were moving on completely, as if the council had never existed. Outside his window, another section of the city went dark. 3 months after leaving council space, humanity was thriving. President Hyejin Nam stood on the observation deck of Terra Nova Station, looking out at the construction work happening in space around her. Huge machines built by human engineers were putting together the biggest space station ever made. Ma'am, the Epsilon Eridani delegation has arrived, said her aide, Commander Yunwoo Park. They are requesting membership in the Terran Independence Alliance. Hyejin nodded. That made 12 species that had left council space to join humanity's new organization. Not big, powerful species like the ones that ran the council. These were smaller groups that had been ignored by the big aliens for centuries. Send them to Ambassador Sunwoo Kang, she said. He will handle the membership talks. Through the viewing window, she could see human colonies spreading across 50 different star systems. Ships moved between them constantly, carrying people and supplies and new technology that the council had never seen. The best part was that humans did not need anyone's permission anymore. Ambassador Sunwoo Kang was meeting with the newest species to ask for help. The Alteans were refugees whose homeworld had been destroyed by a solar flare they could not predict without human technology. Ambassador Kang, said the Alteen leader, a small being with silver skin and big eyes. We know we have nothing to offer humanity in return for your help. Our planet is gone. Our technology is primitive. But our people are dying in refugee camps. Sunwoo looked at the data about the Alteen crisis. 2 million people living in emergency shelters. Limited food, no permanent homes, no hope for the future. The old council would have spent months debating whether to help. They would have formed committees and subcommittees and study groups. People would have died while they argued about procedures. We can relocate your people to 3 different worlds in the Kepler system, Sunwoo said. Good planets with room for farming and cities. We will provide temporary housing and supplies until you get established. The Alteen leader started crying, which was how her species showed gratitude. What do you want in return? Help us build a better galaxy, said Sunwoo. That is all. It was that simple. No complicated treaties, no restrictions, no demands for tribute, just an offer of help between equals. Director Ye Jin-ha was overseeing the activation of humanity's newest research facility. The particle accelerator was 3 times bigger than anything the Council had ever built. It was going to advance human science by decades. All systems are ready, reported Chief Scientist Woo Jin Lee. We can begin experiments whenever you give the order. Ye Jin looked at the control room full of human scientists and engineers. No alien supervisors telling them what was too dangerous. No council committees demanding approval for every experiment. No restrictions on sharing knowledge with their own species. Begin the test sequence, she said. The machine hummed to life, accelerating particles to speeds that had never been reached before. Within hours, they would have data about the fundamental nature of reality that had taken the Council decades to discover, and they would share it freely with any species that wanted to learn. No politics, no power games, just science. Communications specialist Won Ho-young was preparing for the most important broadcast in human history. His message would go out to every inhabited world in the galaxy, using the new communication network that humans had built in secret. Are we ready? Asked President Nam, who had come to watch the broadcast. Yes, ma'am. Our signal will reach over 2,000 different planets at the same time. The message was simple but powerful. This is the Terran Independence Alliance. We offer trade, technology sharing, medical assistance, and military protection to any species that wants to join us as equal partners. No restrictions, no discrimination, no requirements except mutual respect. Within 6 hours of the broadcast, they had received over 300 responses from different alien governments. Some were small colonies that had been ignored by the Council. Others were entire star systems that were tired of Council politics. A few were even major species that had grown disgusted with the way the galaxy was run. Dr. Min Ho-yu was standing on the surface of New Sol, watching the first rain fall on humanity's newest colony world. The terraforming process had taken only 3 months using technology that the Council claimed was centuries beyond human capability. Sir, atmospheric composition is perfect, reported environmental engineer Jisoo Kim. We can remove the breathing masks in another week. Minho looked up at the artificial clouds that human machines had created. In 6 months, this world would have forests, grasslands, and cities. In a year, it would be home to 10 million humans. The Council had always said terraforming was too dangerous for humans to attempt. They said it required cosmic wisdom that young species did not possess. But humans had been secretly terraforming worlds for 20 years, using techniques they developed themselves. They just never told the Council about it. Begin Phase 2 of the atmospheric seeding, Minho said, and start the river network activation sequence. Back in Council space, the collapse was getting worse every day. Former Chairman Mordex sat in what used to be his office, packing his personal belongings. The Council government had fallen 3 days ago, when 17 different species withdrew their membership at the same time. Most of them were joining the Human Alliance instead. Sir, there is one more message for you, said his former aide, looking embarrassed to still be working in the abandoned building. Mordex expected another angry complaint from some alien leader whose world was falling apart. Instead, it was a message from Ambassador Jinwoo Park. Chairman Mordex, the message read, I heard about the Council's dissolution. I want you to know that humanity bears no ill will toward the people of your species or any other species. Our problem was never with individuals, but with a system that prevented cooperation and growth. Mordex kept reading, surprised by the respectful tone. The Terran Independence Alliance welcomes membership applications from all species, including former Council members, as long as they are willing to participate as equals rather than rulers or subjects. We believe the galaxy is big, enough for everyone to prosper together. At the bottom of the message was an invitation to visit Terra Nova, station for exploratory talks about future cooperation. Mordex stared at the message for a long time. After everything that had happened, humans were still willing to work with their former enemies. Not as junior partners begging for scraps, but as equals offering genuine friendship. It was exactly the kind of wisdom the Council had always claimed humans lacked. 6 months after humanity left, the galaxy looked completely different. The old Galactic Council was gone. In its place, dozens of smaller alliances had formed. Some were peaceful trading groups. Others were military coalitions. A few were research partnerships focused on specific sciences. But the biggest and most successful was the Terran Independence Alliance. Led by humans and including over 40 different species, they had the best technology, the strongest economy, and the most advanced military. But most importantly, they had something the old council never had: genuine cooperation between species that respected each other. President Nam stood in the same crystal chamber where Ambassador Park had walked out months ago. But now it was the center of the alliance, not the council. The walls had been redecorated with art from dozens of different worlds. The seats were arranged in a circle instead of rows so everyone could see everyone else as equals. The motion to admit the Zephyrian colonies as full members passes unanimously, she announced. Welcome to the alliance. The Zephyrian representative, the same Zeroth who had begged Jaehyun Lim not to leave, stood up with tears in his eyes. Thank you for giving us a second chance, he said. We promise to be better partners than we were before. We all learn from our mistakes, said President Nam. The important thing is that we learn together. Outside the station, human ships worked alongside alien vessels to build new colonies, new research facilities, and new trade routes. The galaxy was more prosperous and peaceful than it had ever been under council rule. And in a quiet corner of space, on a small planet that nobody else wanted, the last remnants of the old council still held meetings. 5 species, arguing about who was in charge of nothing. They sent occasional messages to the Alliance, asking to be readmitted to galactic politics. The responses were always polite but clear. You are welcome to apply for membership like everyone else. But there are no special privileges for former rulers. Sometimes the best way to fix a broken system is to walk away and build a better one. Humanity had tried to work within the system for years, accepting insults and discrimination because they wanted to be part of something bigger than themselves. But when they finally realized that the system would never respect them, they did something that shocked the galaxy. They left, and in leaving, they proved that they never needed the system in the first place. The system needed them. Now, as President Nam looked out at the thriving alliance they had built, she remembered Ambassador Park's final words to the council. We do not need your permission. They never had. They just needed to stop asking for it